Years ago, I found out by mistake that I had an anxious attachment style. It was a painful discovery, yet a life-changing one. Because up till the moment that I discovered that I was anxiously attached, I have been trying the regular advice for how to get over a breakup. That was the place I was in. I did most of the advice that I got from these videos and books, and yet not much was changing in my life. And at one point, this anxiety, this debilitating pain, it was physical. It was at one point life-threatening. Anxiety and pain was debilitating. It got to a point where I was like, sometimes I had struggled doing even the most basic of things, like getting out of bed, taking a shower, going to work. I realized that I had to do something else. So I started digging, started reading, until I came across the attachment theory. This is when I started reading a bit more, and then I had the attachment test, and then I found out that I had an anxious attachment style. And when I found out about this, I started reading more about attachment, about anxious attachment specifically. Oh my God, the amount of clarity that I got. Finally, everything that I was experiencing, that I was feeling, it made sense to me. And probably for the first time in my life, I started to feel, oh my God, like I'm not crazy. I'm not needy. I'm not imagining this pain. This pain feels real because it is real. And I realized that someone with an anxious attachment style experiences heartbreak worse than someone else with any other attachment styles. Of course, especially the secure one. Right before that moment, I used to think that, oh my God, the grief, the sadness, the pain that I was going through was mainly because I lost the person, the only person that I thought was going to make me happy in this life, the one, my soulmate. And I thought, well, this means that I'm doomed. I'm going to spend the rest of my life alone, and I'm not going to find someone who makes me feel that way again. But when I started reading more about anxious attachment, I realized that the pain that I was experiencing, it was not because of him. Most of that pain was coming from deep inside. The wound that was triggered by this breakup, it was there long before I even met him. The more I read, the more everything started to make more sense to me. It was like a light bulb went on, and all of a sudden I started to know myself on a deeper level, deeper than I've ever gotten to know myself before. I would not be exaggerating if I tell you that I am extremely grateful for that experience. Painful as it was, but again, it was life-changing, because if it wasn't for the end of this relationship, if it wasn't for that breakup, I would have never gotten to know all of this about myself, and I would have never been able to have a chance to work on my attachment wounds, so that I get to a place where I'm feeling secure, confident, and at peace. So here are a few things that I found out along this journey. The single most important discovery is that anxious attachment lives in the body. It's not only an intellectual state, it's a physical, mental, emotional state. The emotions that we experience on a daily basis since the day we were born, and even before that, since the day we were being created in the womb of our mothers, we experience emotions physically. So any attempt I would have done to change myself logically would have never gotten me to the place of peace and calmness that I'm experiencing today. So if I have to recommend to you only one thing to do from this video and nothing else, it would be this: for you to learn how to regulate your nervous system. When I was going through that difficult period of my life, I started to learn more about nervous system regulation. And I think that it was around January 2019, if I remember correctly. And I started reading more about that. And so I said to myself, okay, here's the deal. I'm going to make a commitment that I'm going to meditate, okay, do nervous system regulation through meditation and breath work every single day, no matter what happens in my life. And the only thing that would keep me from doing this practice every day is if I'm dead. If I'm still alive, I would do it no matter what's going on in my life. And I kept that promise. So since the beginning of January 2019 until today, I haven't missed a day. I meditate, I do my breath work every single day. And if I look back and I have to choose only one thing that has the most positive impact on my life than anything else, it would definitely be nervous system regulation. I believe that as children, we learned to feel way before we learned how to speak or how to describe our feelings through words. I think that what happens is that as children, we pick up the energy from people who are constantly around us. So mainly those are caregivers, family members, or people that we spend most time around. So I think that what happens is that we experience emotions, we feel energy way before we develop the logical or analytical mind that we have. So for me personally, I mean, my parents are fantastic. They're great people. They did their absolute best to provide for me and for my siblings. They sacrificed so much. I have no doubt that they love us and that they care about us and that they want what's best for us. But I can also tell that my mother was not the most affectionate, person I've known in my life. And I'm saying this with so much compassion. I don't judge her. I know that she had so many responsibilities, and that sometimes when we as human beings, regardless, like women and men, when we have so much going on, when we have so many responsibilities and we feel like we have so much on our plates, we often find ourselves in this go get, do things, get things done mode. We are not so much in touch with our own feelings. And sometimes what happens is that we fail to express our love to people who we care about the most. So for example, I don't remember that my mom was, used to express her affection to us in the form of hugging or kissing or, dedicating special time to have deep talks with us. Of course, that does not make her a bad mother, but I think that this has definitely contributed to me developing this anxious attachment style that I'm talking about here. So what I'm saying is that sometimes even if we don't have the most, traumatic childhood experiences, for a baby, for a child, love is not a luxurious thing. It's not something that you do. It's not something extra that you do. This is something that's needed for the survival. And because we have been wired to want love, to want connection, because this is what's going to keep us alive, when we are not loved unconditionally during our childhood, we develop one of these unhealthy attachment styles. Most of the times, these unhealthy attachment styles are nothing but survival mechanisms that we learned as children to protect ourselves and to make up for this missing loving bonding that we so much crave from our caregivers. Years go by, and because we have practiced these feelings enough times without even having the conscious thoughts to be able to realize what's going on inside of us, we carry these emotions. We keep playing them on autopilot until we find ourselves adults in adult relationships, but we have been practicing the same childhood patterns of relating to others as a 5-year-old. It's crazy to realize that the person who is running your adult relationships is not the adult version of you. It's actually the 5-year-old, the 5, 8, 9, 10-year-old version of you. The one who is scared, the one who learned to seek the validation and the approval of others by earning love, by chasing love, by working so hard to get love, by sacrificing our own peace and not being vocal about our needs. Because this is what we learned to do as anxious attachers when we were children. We learned that love is inconsistent. One day it's here, the next few days it's not. We learned to do our best to please others around us because this is how we get them to accept us. This is how we get access to the energy that we want more than anything else, the energy of love, the energy of acceptance, of connection. But when you learn is that love is so counterintuitive. We don't get love because we want it more. We get love because we get to feel it in ourselves. We get to experience it within ourselves before we want to get it from others. When you first start introducing yourself to these new concepts, to these new thought patterns, beliefs, and feelings, it's going to feel alien to you because you have been practicing these patterns of feeling for such a long time. That was my experience for sure. Having lived for years in anxiety and then moving to a place where you all of a sudden you're confident in who you are, you're at peace, you're not arguing with people to prove your value to them. If someone says no to you, it only takes one no for you to leave the room and never come back. Learn how to get information from people, not because you judge them, but because you want to assess, is this the kind of person that I want to have in my life? Is this the kind of partner that I want to have a relationship with? When you don't chase no more, when you don't argue no more, when you stop wasting your energy, when you stop sacrificing your inner peace for any person, especially people who make you doubt yourself, make you work hard only for breadcrumbs of attention. When you're no longer attracted to this hot and cold dynamic, when an avoidant becomes the least attractive man that you could ever find yourself in a relationship with. And I'm not judging avoidance. They are fantastic people. They have their own attachment wounds that they need to be working on. But I don't think that having an insecurity or an attachment wound is ever an excuse for one person to hurt another. Someone knows that they have an avoidant attachment style and they have difficulty relating to someone else. They have difficulty being close, opening up, being vulnerable. They should never try to take advantage of others. It's never an excuse to try to make oneself feel good by putting someone else down. When you learn to take the responsibility of making yourself feeling good, of valuing your own self, valuing your own inner peace, being so protective of your energy, life feels so different. But I'm telling you, this is the most freeing and peaceful feeling that you'll ever have in your life. And then once you feel this way, you would never, ever again think of giving it away for anyone, for any kind of relationship. I also learned that the single most important relationship in this life that I could have is the relationship that I have with myself. All the other relationships are nothing but a reflection of this. This new way of being is not an idea. It's not an intellectual concept. It's not just scientific information that you get rationally. This is a practice that you condition your body to every single day. Because again, remember, anxiety lives in the body. We experience emotions through our bodies. This trauma, this attachment wound that we have, this terrible fear of abandonment, being left behind, feeling insecure, feeling scared, it lives in the body. So you can't talk it away. You can't rationalize it away. You can only calm it down by regulating your nervous system, by teaching your body to be safe, to be at peace, even if no one else chooses you. You choose yourself every single day. You continue to show up to yourself, even if no one else does. Whether you are in a relationship with a partner, whether you are on your own, you know that you're going to feel secure and you know that you're going to be okay. This is how it feels like to be secure. And of course, this does not mean that you don't want love or connection or partner anymore in your life, but it only means that you want these things from a place of abundance, of feeling secure, of feeling confident, of knowing that you have value, but your value is never depending on someone else choosing you. So if you know yourself to be an anxiously attached, I want you to know that it's not a death sentence. This is a pattern that you learned years ago. But any pattern that we learned could be unlearned as well. This is something I know for sure. Doing the work to heal, to go from anxious to secure is the most rewarding thing that you can ever do to yourself in this life. Weeks, months, and definitely years, you're going to look back and say, thank God that I made that decision, that I worked on calming my nervous system down, that I worked to be secure, to be confident in myself, no matter what happens. Let me know in the comments below if you found today's video useful. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one.